Zoom says live, and I'm waiting for Facebook to say live, which this will probably be recording everything I say right now.
It
All right.
looks like it might be on.
Why does it say 50 minutes? That's very strange. I've never seen that do that.
Maybe it's stuck. Could be stuck.
Oh, there we go. Now it's moving. For some reason the clock was not moving on live. Okay. Maybe I confused it somehow. Well, that's possible. Well, welcome back to the Change Position. I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, joined by my awesome co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. And this is our Monday Motivations. If you are seeing us on my Challenge Doctor page, this is actually being cross-posted from the Change Position Facebook page. And if you don't know what the Change Position is, you can go over to thechangeposition.com and sign up to be part of the community, whether you're a physician or a physician ally. We'd love to have you there, and we'll give you occasional updates on what's coming around the corner or any new events that are happening. But in Monday Motivations, we always try to give you some, first of all, go back over the last week of podcast episodes and the upcoming week's episodes. And also, Kevin and I always have this little, inspiration, motivation challenge for ourselves to, work on something or continue doing something good. Preferably something good, right, Kevin?
I don't think we've ever done something bad.
Yeah. So do you want to touch on what we had on our podcast this past week?
Yeah. So what did we have on this? I kind of
we had a host chat and we had Dr. Larson
and Eric. Yeah. So we had a host chat on when we talked about when we don't know the answers, and that was that's kind of an interesting episode for the touchy situation of being a physician and you have people coming in wanting your expertise, and what do you say when you don't know? Or more importantly, is how do you bridge that conversation? Because that's really important. I will often say people go to a doctor not for the reasons that they think they are. They think they want answers, and really they want reassurance. And it's more important as a physician to be able to eliminate bad things, to positively say that this actual one thing here is the quote unquote cause, when especially for symptoms, which most people are coming in with, which is almost impossible. So that was an interesting discussion there. And then we had an even more interesting discussion with Dr. Eric Larson of the Paradox podcast, who has been on previously, and his wife has actually been on previously, who has her own podcast as well. But Eric is a really interesting guy, not only because he's an anesthesiologist, and all the best people are obviously anesthesiologists, Melissa. I mean, right? We're all anesthesiologists. But we had a big discussion on what's going to happen with the SARS-CoV-2 infections, and with COVID, which is the actual disease process, and vaccinations. And that was kind of what are we projecting to see in the future there? What are the new normals going to be? Are we going to return? I was kind of interested to see how positive Eric was about what he saw the future was, as compared to, I don't think I'm a total pessimist, but I thought it would be a little longer than he was saying. But if you're interested and you're like wondering, hey, everybody's getting vaccinated and this and that and the other thing, listen to that episode and see what you think. Obviously, things are always evolving, so who knows if those will pan out the way we all were thinking about it. But it was a fun episode, and definitely he knows what he's talking about. So a great one to listen there. Yeah. And other than that, I think this week coming up. Wait, am I doing that or are you doing that one?
Go ahead. You're on a roll.
I'm on the roll. So we had another host chat with Melissa and I where we do our ponderings. We should call those something else, like, I don't know, the pondering episodes, because they just end up to be thinking about
pondering powwow.
Pondering powwows, yeah. When we were talking about specific numbers to be happy, and that really comes down to what is your number? Number being the amount of money that you either need in retirement or in income producing assets, or something to feel comfortable to feel financially independent or retire, depending on whatever your verbiage would be. And that was kind of an interesting discussion for me, because I keep finding that number changes, and really how much of that is a number and how much of that is a mindset. So that is what we talked about. And then we had a wonderful guest who is going to be posting on the 4th. If I get a name wrong, please correct me, but it's Dr. Nithya Natrajan, and family doc who has created a very interesting business providing a very specific service, which is a lactation counselor, like supporting new mothers in that peripartum period where you are new baby, you're trying to get used to breastfeeding, maybe you're having challenges with that. And so a really, 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 really stressful time. And oftentimes the standard kind of visits and things that we have if you're having a baby may not be enough. And that one was an eye-opener one for me, because I will tell you from a personal standpoint, my wife and I are both physicians. My wife and I had both delivered babies. But I will tell you, when they put our firstborn in our arms and said, okay, you can go home now, that was one of the more terrifying moments of my life. And I just could imagine what that would be like with people who don't have a medical background, and you're taking this small life hack. And if you had any sort of difficulties, luckily we did not. Man, what a wonderful service. So that's a great, great discussion there. And so I really encourage people to check out that episode, as well as the links in that, to see what she's offering. Because there is a strong community around breastfeeding and supporting new mothers and things like that, that she mentioned at the end. So really, really good episodes that I'm excited to see out there.
And I was going to mention, for potential, if you lose a pregnancy, having support system.
Oh yeah, I forgot even about that part too, where that's the support system as well as the counseling around that, because that's a loss that oftentimes we don't think about, where you lose the baby before you even go into labor. We'll often call it miscarriage, depending on where in the time frame that is. And I think a lot of people, and I think we had a little discussion on that, how often people will just those who are not in that immediate circle will kind of say, well, they don't even think about it as a loss, or as significant as loss of it can be. So again, we had really some good discussion about that. And she does offer some really, really wonderful needed services in that to a population that I think that gets underlooked quite often. So yeah, that was a fun episode. I mean, fun in a way that we're talking to somebody doing really, really important things that you don't hear about, that doesn't get published that often, but really, really provides an important resource to people out there. So that was fun.
Yeah, and I think it's fun for us to, there's always going to be people out there that everyone's heard about, or, it's I think a lot of fun for us to discover people kind of breaking out and trying to do something slightly different than traditional, or even, a different twist on traditional. But I think it's really exciting to help some of these new budding entrepreneurs that are trying to create a great service with the kind of training and background that many people may not think that they would provide. And I just think it's really cool to share that. And if people know of people trying to do something good for this world, and it's, it isn't always easy when you first start out, your own business. So we always love hearing about people doing that. So make sure to reach out to us on our Facebook page, or you can reach out on Instagram. There's so many places to find us. So
absolutely.
I just had to put a plug in for that.
Well, I think that's an important point though, right? Because we have been in this entrepreneurial space for a while, and the difference between making a difference and making money is very, very different. And people who are quote unquote successful doing this stuff, it's mostly about the marketing, to be honest, than anything else. And there's a lot of people who have really, really good, important work, who are providing a valuable service. They may not just necessarily have that marketing, or may they have that networking effect of things like that. And I do feel if anything we can do to kind of promote those people, I want to do it, because they are doing great stuff. So what can we do to help this community grow? So anyway,
absolutely
great bringing it up.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. So what was your motivation or inspiration last week to bring into this week? You remember? We always do this.
I keep thinking I keep wanting to post it on the thing.
I think mine was treat my poison ivy. Did I talk about my poison ivy?
You did definitely talk about your poison ivy.
Yeah, it's still with me, but it just keeps on hanging around when you don't want it. It just, it's like a little pest. But the itching's not quite as bad. I'm doing a little bit better.
How long is that stuff supposed to last?
I don't know. I'm that kind of person with EKG leads, like just the adhesive will create a reaction and stick around for like a month.
But my wife was like that. You look at her and she breaks out. It's like the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm like part Hispanic, part Caucasian, and for some reason I got the benefit a little bit of tanning with the Hispanic side, but then I got all the sensitivities on the skin for the stuff that's not sun exposed. I'm very like I get sensitive, but I have more resilient skin when it's like the sun exposed skin.
So you just need to like walk around in a bikini in the sun and then be like
Yeah,
Superman
that's
with
gonna
like
work really
armor
well
all
at
over
work
the
too.
place. Well, there's no sun inside the OR.
Well, except for when I talk to someone that is working in Tasmania and they show me their beautiful view like 200 yards from the coastline. That's
Out of
amazing.
the OR?
Yes.
I have only seen one hospital that had an OR with a window.
I got teased with that picture last week.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's why I'm talking to this individual just to, chat what it's like to be working in an operating room near the coastline in Tasmania. It seems pretty cool.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very entertaining, but
yeah. So what's your last week thing?
Mine was obviously I'm still doing the strength training
from
thing.
The workout stuff.
Man, it's just so awesome. Like now I'm actually okay. I gotta start slowing down. I was actually thinking about what's the healing speed and recovery speed of ligaments versus tendons, because you know that those are different than muscles, and the muscles are getting stronger, but you want to push it, but you shouldn't. So anyway, that's been really fun. And then I think the other one was a stupid one about my my Marriott quest. Remember I was talking about?
Oh yeah, Marriott. Your points or your status.
The passion for platinum. Yes. That's right. And so we started that. Technically, we are staying in a Marriott right now, obviously, but we are not. But we bought the nights, and that'll put us so close. So we will officially have hit platinum status by mid-April, because with this stay, we'll put us up to 47 nights. And then we have another 2-day stay that we're going to do in 2 weeks with our kids, because we're going to go skiing. Yes. We're only going to stay one night, but we're going to do 2 days, and they're going to, because of the super awesome promo, we'll get 4 nights out of that. That'll put it at 51. And then I don't know what we're going to do after that. I'll have some other thing I have to go after, because
you just love goals. And
I do. There's something about like, because I was looking at my because we were talking about the strength training thing, and I was, when we started, I'm like, well, you're like, how long is this going to last? I'm like, as long as the paper. Right. So, because I had printed out this paper and there was enough, it ended up to be 9 weeks, the blocks that had printed out at. And I was just looking at it, and oh no, it was 16 weeks or 17 weeks. Anyway, I'm at 9. I just started the 9th week on this paper. So I'm like halfway done. I'm already thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Because I'm not really good at repeating. So anyway,
you need variety.
I do need a variety, but it's so bizarre. I don't think it's super exactly healthy, but having this external focus, like something that is just like, do it. And it can be the dumbest thing, like
tangible, achievable
thing. I'm like, okay, let me just do that,
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. Well, it's like when we bought our treadmill, like 13 years ago.
Wow.
And we have a great treadmill. It's a Precor, it's industrial. We actually bought it when a gym closed. And it was so expensive at the time, which is expensive for us at the time, that I was like, the only way that we can buy this is if I use it every day, and I have to use it for 100 days. So you set the goal and you use it every day for 100 days. It's like, anyway.
Yeah, you kind of have to put your skin in the game, but that's key to so many things and so many topics we talk about.
Well, there's skin in the game, but I think the other thing is just this weird perceptual shift. Like some people have this really strong, like this intrinsic motivation, like I'm doing it because it whatever. Yeah. And my little intrinsic motivation, I have it for certain things, but really that some sort of external thing that can be completely ridiculous, like this Marriott Platinum thing, but it's just like I can look at it and it's just like check the box and that's all I do. I'm pretty good at doing those. So if anybody has anything that you want me to do and say, I want you to do this, some challenge, let me know. And if it's like ethical and stuff, I'll probably do it. So anyway, it works out well for me.
That's why you're cross posted on the Challenge Doctor page. You just take any challenge.
Check. What do you want to challenge me to do? Check.
Exactly. Well, cool. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna keep taking care of my poison ivy. And luckily, the first couple days kind of hard because the moment I started trying to work out, the heat would start like making it more itchy, and I was miserable. So I kind of like slacked a little bit. So I got to start revving back up and not have that as an excuse. So,
Where do you think you got your first exposure? Like,
oh, I know exactly when it happened.
no, but I mean, like, so I'm, if anybody's the total poison oak, poison ivy expert, please let me know. But my understanding was it's like any sort of allergy. If you touch it the first time, you don't tend to have a reaction to it. And then the second time we often have, if you have actually that contact kind of dermatitis allergic reaction.
I may have had an exposure in the past, but
Yeah.
very small.
Okay.
I know it was like it was kind of a weird. I don't know. Like I felt like it was just the toxin that the urshdiol, whatever you call it, that I mean, literally it caused bruising under my skin. Like
That's crazy.
yeah, it was crazy. So it was almost like it almost seems like it wouldn't be necessarily an allergic, like first exposure. And it's kind of like our whole, doing our vaccinations. You get the first exposure, your innate immune response starts, and then you start building these B cells and T cells, and then you have this big soldier army that can just like do the assault. That's possible, I guess. I am not an expert at this poison ivy thing. I need to do a little bit more, but literally I feel like whatever the toxin or whatever is in it, I think just causes the problem.
The actual dermatitis.
Yeah, it is like intense, and then there's a delay, like it kind of like settles and then it reemerges a little stronger. So I think for 2 or 3 days I didn't use the stuff that binds it, so I was just like, I was hosed. I really thought that I was just gonna have like that little rashy look thing, like maybe a prior time that I thought could have been that, but it really turned out to be pretty awful.
Pretty awful.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so that's a good enough poison ivy, but
that's a good motivation to get over it though. So I don't know. Go lay in your sunroom, right, and use the healing.
Yeah. Here's a trick. Don't wear shorts when you're clipping stuff that's like brush stuff in your backyard. Just make sure you're covered everywhere, and then use that 3-foot thing that cuts things away from you so you don't get it on you.
Well, unless you're lucky enough to live in a state that doesn't have to worry about it. Like, because I grew up in Nevada, and Nevada didn't have really.
I don't know where
it was so mild because we just had sagebrush and stuff, and you never worried about it. And here, where we are, obviously the lush freaking zone that we are, we have a ton of poison oak, and yeah, because when I was young, we just ran through everything all the time, shorts, whatever, creeks, blah blah blah. Never had any problems at all. And here you have to be much more careful, obviously, for the reasons that you brought up, because it's all over the place, which sucks,
Yeah. So what's your understanding of the difference of poison oak and poison ivy?
Leaves. That's the only. I really don't know other than
that there's a slight, but as far as reaction,
I think it's the same. But now
it could have been either one. I don't know.
I think it depends on where you are, right? So, well, yeah, because there's poison ivy, oak, and sumac according to WebMD. They grow in woody, blah 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 blah, all over the place. Some things I already know. Poison sumac is a shrub or a tree. Poison ivy and poison oak grow as vines or shrubs. Ours is, I'm pretty sure, is poison oak. I'm looking at the pictures here. Yeah, we definitely have poison oak because it has that oak leaf kind of shape to it. Oh yeah, poison ivy would be much harder to tell for me.
Yeah, it's definitely very close. But I will say there's some stuff that I cut that the roots, when you look at the roots, it looks yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a bright yellow. I don't know if that is one of those I'm trying to figure out, but anyway, I will become more of an expert later.
Or maybe we need an expert on poison oak and poison ivy. If anybody else is plagued by this issue, if nobody else is fascinated by these venomous plants.
I don't like venomous things. Anyway, all right. So what's on the agenda? Just continue your pursuits of healthy, fit living.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing that, and then I'm going to. Well, we're refinancing our house, so that'll be done.
Oh joy.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it all comes through.
That's the only thing I'm motivated on right now. And then you know what? This is what I want you to check on me next Monday is a new motivation.
Wow.
For next Monday's motivation,
we're gonna make you start with something new.
I need a new motivation. Yeah, I'll need that.
That works.
What are you gonna do besides work on poison ivy?
Let's see. Oh, I've got a whole bunch of little, so there's this place I discovered called soexotic.com. You can check it out. SOW,
Oh, okay.
as in gardening. And I had like 11 little plants that probably got to me 2 days too late, and I've got to revive them back to life a little bit. But these very unique, which one? Let's see, which ones did I get this time? I might just pull up my little list to cheat, and I'll go with that because my agenda has to do with some elevated plant beds and let's see here, and all of my different. Let me see where that order is. Got to give you the lowdown because they're quite interesting. Okay, everyone, hold on. Let me just pull this up. Let's see.
Pull up what you got.
Yeah, that's.
I'm on the website. They got some crazy stuff here.
Yes, it is so awesome. Okay, so I have this thing called Blueberry Sweet Crisp, Sisu spinach.
Wait, what's the blueberry? Is it edible?
Yes, so all these are edibles.
Oh, okay.
I
edibles
love
in the kind of like salad, not like Oregon edibles. Right? When we say edibles here, it's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, no. This is all legal stuff in Texas.
It's legal here too. So
what?
It's legal here too.
Let's see, edible vegetables, plants, herbs, and vegetables. How about that? Okay. So there's a blueberry plant. I got 2 different spinach plants. They're kind of like evergreen. I'm trying to find things that are like more evergreen and you can eat them. There's an Okinawan spinach, which is like a purple and green spinach.
Okay.
And then there's a thornless Natchez blackberry plant. Tulsi Krishna. It's kind of like one of those herbs. I got a moringa tree, which looking really bad right now, but coming to Texas, I'm sure it gets a little bit more of a hit. But you can eat almost any part of that grows in Africa. I think it was originally from Africa. I'm not quite certain. Green tea. I've got a green tea and a yerba mate or yerba mate. Mate. I said it wrong.
Yerba mate.
Yerba mate. And then there's an Aztec sweet herb, which is like 1,500 times sweeter than sugar, but it's like purple and green with little white flowers at times. And then there's a indeterminate, meaning it could last for years, called the Everglades tomato.
Oh.
Yeah, little like cherry tomato things that are sweet. So I'm gonna try to, bring them a little back to life over the next few days. Try to start getting them used to some outside. Some of them I might, like the yerba mate, I might keep as an indoor plant. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to learn about them, and nothing better than just putting your foot in the water. And even though you're not really a full out gardener, and just experiment.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're like the small, what's that?
I was gonna say you're in a good place because I would think your growing conditions are, it's hot, but you can grow all sorts of these fruits and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to try to get, I'm having a sprinkler person come in and I have to get some repair done anyway. So I'm going to see if they can put a underground drip line along the area I want to have these. So we'll see.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's my agenda. By next Wednesday, I want like my elevated plant beds ready to go and got some things thriving, and then maybe transplant some things by next Wednesday. We'll see.
Well, I'm just looking at the website and like, what can we grow here?
Yeah, you have to kind of look, and there's citrus trees at So Exotic. Of course, they can't put out beyond Florida. It's a Florida business, but they'll a lot of times be out of stuff, and then you can ask for an email and they'll notify you when it comes back in stock. But I just love these like weird, different stuff you don't see. Mm-hmm. And there's another few that I had ordered that I'm waiting on. And they're only like $15 if you get like the small version of them. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of just see if it can thrive in your environment or not. But there's this thing called the jabuticaba, where these little berries grow directly on the trunk or the stems. Mm-hmm. And then there's a thing called a Swiss cheese plant, which can grow in the shade like on an oak tree, which I need something to kind of fill this dirt area. And then a red leaf cranberry hibiscus.
Very cool.
So I'm just going on and on, but
I'm
I've
excited for you. No, that's great.
Yeah.
I wish
So
I
that's
had,
my adventure.
well, I need some motivation to do yard work and then grow. Actually, if we could fence our yard, I'm like,
Yeah.
like it's amazing how much you can actually grow on property. Like there was in Southern California, there was, I want to say like a house, it was on like a third or half an acre. And they grew so much food. They like supplied, I think they were like ended up being agricultural something. So I'm always telling my wife, I'm like, you know, if we fenced the backyard and the stupid deer couldn't put back there, we could probably grow enough food for the neighborhood. We would never have to go to the grocery store again. But you'd have to actually grow food in your backyard. And
yeah. Well, I'm going to show you this one little before we go. I'm going to share this screen to give you an idea. Can you see it?
Red leaf cranberry hibiscus.
Look what it does.
That's interesting.
It's just kind of cool. And you can eat, it says produces edible leaves that have kind of a crisp, light, and tart flavor, filled with vitamin C and antioxidants. Usually prepared as a vegetable, but you can, you know, put them in salads or stir fries. And they grow pretty tall too, so you can have them kind of like along a hedge or a fence.
Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah. So anyway,
cool.
Those are pretty.
It is a pretty.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see your yard.
Thanks.
One of these things you can do a Facebook Live and you can take us through the plants in the backyard.
It's got some work to do, but you know, maybe next year it'll just be at least the basics. The basics in place, and actually maybe showing some color of stuff. But
awesome.
Got some work to do. All right, you want to take us out for today?
No, you can take us out for today. Well, because I did the whole introduction on the episode, so I figured.
Okay, let me do it.
All right.
Let me just take this away from you.
Take us in.
So for those of you listening, if you're trying to figure out what we're just like talking about, this is Monday Motivations with the Change Physician on the Facebook page. And we tend to do these on Mondays to share our previous and upcoming episodes on the podcast, but also talk about our previous and future motivations, inspirations for our own individual, personal, or professional lives. That would be Kevin and I. I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, and Dr. Kevin Cuccaro is out of Oregon, and I'm in Texas. So we try to do our little Monday motivations, but occasionally we'll do some host chats. So we might change the name of that for our podcast episodes, but we also drop our Monday motivations into the feed so that you can listen to us on audio on your drive. Well, who really drives to work right now, but a few people do. But we would love to hear from you, or if you want to just review, rate, or just join in on the podcast, or find us on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to see you or hear from you there. And until next Monday Motivations or our next episode, you all take care.
See you later, folks.